Hey guys, welcome back to some more Geoguessr ranked duels. Now today, doing something slightly harder. I'm doing the NMPZ game mode. And NMPZ, if you are unaware, stands for no moving, panning, or zooming. So, as you can see, I cannot zoom, I cannot pan the camera, I cannot move. This image here is all I have to work off. And that's pretty difficult. I'm not very good at this mode, I'll say that right at the start. I'm probably not going to do well. My opponent here is also ranked a lot higher than me. This feels like Europe. That's really all I've got. It feels like it could be slightly further south. I was thinking around Czechia or Slovakia. I'm going to go with Western Romania. Okay, my opponent also thought Romania, so that's comforting. I've also just realised my sound is too loud. I'm going to quickly fix that. Okay, there we go. Sound is at the normal level now. So this is harder. Yellow line in the middle means we're probably in the Americas. The sun isn't visible, sadly, so I can't go off that. Could this be Mexico? Could this be somewhere like Colombia or Ecuador? I'm kind of torn right now between Mexico and Colombia because the yellow lines in the middle of the road do indicate that it's in the Americas. The plants here as well feels like this could be Colombia. Sadly, I can't see any license plates or any other signs. I think I'm going to go with Colombia on this one. Not super confident. I'll go quite far north here, I think. It was Brazil. Okay, for some reason that didn't really cross my mind, and it probably should have. So I take some damage there. Not a huge amount, considering. Nothing I can't recover from. Yeah, this game mode is one that I'm not very good at. So hopefully I can at least, win a game. That would be nice. Now, this is obviously Cyrillic. I don't know if this feels like Russia or not, which is scary. This is a very scary one. Because this could also be somewhere like Bulgaria. I'm kind of torn right now between Bulgaria and Russia. And if it is Russia, then I don't know where within Russia. This could be super far east. This is a scary one. I think I'm going to go west, like southwest Russia. Looking at the trees and the landscape. Okay, not a huge amount to go off. I'm going to go down here somewhere. Okay. At least my opponent was also wrong on that one. That was much further east. See, this is tough. This is proper hardcore Geoguessr. Geoguessr in its truest form. Now, luckily, I do know this country because the building style is very what's the word? Yeah, I see these kind of buildings and I know it's Bhutan. Very distinctive. That's the word. I'm just gonna go with somewhere in central Bhutan. So I'm hanging on. We're now going to the damage multiplier rounds, which is where hanging on won't be good enough anymore. Okay, Indonesia. I can tell by the language and the Indosat here. It's, definitely Indonesia, but beyond that, I really don't know. I mean, even in, like, moving games, I struggle with Indonesia. So, in no move, in NMPZ, I am just pretty hopeless. I don't really have anything to go off here. It's one of my worst countries in Geoguessr. Something I need to get better at, but I'm not really sure how. I just don't know how to, like, distinguish between, like, Sumatra and Java, or Sulawesi, or these small islands over here. Or, I think I just called this Sulawesi. This is Sulawesi. This is Kalimantan. Um, my safe guess usually is somewhere near Bandung in West Java. I feel like that covers, the population density pretty well. There's mountains, though, in the east. I mean, it still could be. There's mountains on Java. There's mountains everywhere in Indonesia, pretty much. I'll go for Bandung. It was Sulawesi. Okay. So in that one, I'm slightly closer than my opponent, who was in Sumatra. So I can inflict some damage. Okay. Now this, I believe, is India. Based on the camera quality. Oh wait, no, hold on. These people are African. Oh, this is Africa that I don't know. We're driving on the right. Oh, so this is going to be like northern Nigeria, I think. Could also be Senegal, but I like northern Nigeria here, somewhere near Kano up here, maybe slightly further south. Okay, yeah. Yeah, northern Nigeria often has really bad camera quality, and it's also a lot drier than the south. So somewhere around Kano is a pretty decent guess for northern Nigeria. Okay, I'm in the lead. My opponent has below half health. We're back in Europe. Now, again, beyond that, I don't really know. It's pretty green, a little bit hilly. This feels to me like it could be Czechia or Slovakia, or maybe France even. I'm not sure where else. I kind of like Czechia as a safe guess here. These three countries feel like the most likely to me. Maybe southern Germany as well. I might go with central Czechia. Just trying to think if there's anywhere else that works more. But beyond those few countries, I'm not really sure where else this could be. If it's France and my opponent's right, I'll be in a bit of trouble. But I'm going to go with Czechia. It was Slovakia. Lovely. That was one of the countries I mentioned. More damage inflicted. My opponent's not dead yet, but he's getting there. Only 800 points left. And this is not what I wanted to see. Oh no. It feels like South America, but beyond that, I really don't know. Could this be Asia instead? Possibly, but I don't think so. I think we're looking at either Mexico or something like Colombia or Ecuador. Colombia is probably going to be my guess here. Big mountain to the south. It's a shame I can't see any license plates, but these streets, these buildings, they do feel like we're more likely to be in the Americas than in Asia. And if I'm torn between, if this is Mexico, then I'm perhaps in trouble. But I think Colombia is a good safe guess here for me. Somewhere fairly central. There's lots of mountains all over this part of Colombia. Let's go. It was, and I have just won the first game. Super happy with that. Started a little bit rough, but then towards the end, I was dominating against an opponent higher level than me in a in a game mode that I struggle with typically. So very happy with that first game. Now with NMPZ, also at the time of day I'm playing, the queues sometimes take a while to pop. If it takes too long, never mind. I will stop talking there because the queue has popped. Playing against a Russian opponent who is ranked a bit lower than me. Okay, this is Austria. The way I can tell, obviously it's like Northern Hemisphere because of the sun. It feels like it's European. It's very mountainy. But what tells me this is Austria, you can't really make it out very well, but these bollards here, the white ones with the black caps and the little dark red stripe, those are, I believe, Austria specific. So this isn't like super mountainous. We're not like in the middle of the Alps. We're not in Western Austria, I don't think. We could be if it's some parts like over here, but I think this is more likely to be either down here near Graz or up here somewhere. I'm going to play it pretty safe and go like around here. It was further south near Graz. Okay. My opponent is slightly closer there, but only 99 points of damage done. No harm, no foul. Okay, round 2. Interesting. These dotted lines on the edges of the road certainly make me think this is Scandinavia, which is interesting because these buildings and these fences feel weird. If this is Scandinavia, I think it's either Sweden or Norway. I'm leaning more towards Sweden because it's quite flat. I think I'm going to go somewhere fairly central in Sweden. Somewhere around here. Hope for the best. Oh, that was Estonia. Okay. My opponent did know that. Fair play to them. Luckily for me, it was on one of the islands, so I didn't take too much damage. It could have been a lot worse. But a strong start from my opponent. Okay. Well, this is obviously French. This is Canada, I think. This feels like French Canada. Because of the use of French, we're going to be somewhere pretty far east. Question now is how far east? Are we just in Quebec? Or are we further in perhaps New Brunswick or Nova Scotia? The landscape with all the trees in the background, it's very, very green. Feels more likely to be New Brunswick than Nova Scotia. Could also be up here in Newfoundland, but I'm not going that far. Do I go with Quebec or do I go with New Brunswick? I might go. I think I'm going to go somewhere near Quebec City, somewhere pretty central for this whole area. Okay, it was further west in Quebec. Again, I lose a little bit, but nothing too bad so far. I'm only down 1,000 points. Still a long way to go in this one. Okay, now this is interesting. Ooh, okay, so the sun feels like it's to the north. This feels like it's southern hemisphere. These bollards appear to be white with a red, like, stripe wrapped around them, which I believe is New Zealand. Now, if I didn't see those bollards, I would have gone with Australia here. But those bollards, I believe, indicate New Zealand. As for which parts of New Zealand, I'm thinking North Island. I'm going to go somewhere fairly central in North Island. Wow, South Island. And my opponent was very close. Okay, I'm in trouble here. I guess it was quite dry. There isn't much of, well, relatively dry anyway. And there isn't much of North Island that's dry like that. This, I believe I do know the country. For sure. Well, pretty sure anyway. I'm like 90% sure this is Botswana because of the yellow lines on the side of the road and these like big shoulders on the side of the road here. You know, the road is still paved, but not quite as well. You often see these big grey stripes on the side of the road here. Direction of the road, I might go. Do I risk going somewhere fairly far north here? The road is going kind of west and like maybe a little bit southwest. I think I am going to take a risk here. Just to try and take some points away from my opponent. Hasn't worked. My opponent is just playing too well for me to take anything off them right now. I'm down below half health. My opponent is still on full. But it's not over yet. That being said, I have no idea where we are here. It feels European, I think. It could be somewhere like Romania, or Bulgaria, or Turkey even. Or Greece, somewhere down here feels like it's possible. So does Russia though, and that's what's scary. Could be somewhere in Russia, and if it is, I'm probably going to be in trouble. I don't think it is, unless it's down here, in these mountains, or close to these mountains. I don't think this is Russia. I think somewhere like Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania. Feels right. Looking at these mountains in the background here. I think I'm going to go with Romania. Bulgaria is a big possibility here. Do I change? I'm going to change and go with Bulgaria. Something's telling me Bulgaria here. Okay, I'm glad I moved. My opponent is just playing basically flawless right now. For a no move panning or zooming game, my opponent is playing very, very well. So if I'm going to come back in this game, I think it needs to start now, so I could easily be killed here. Double yellow lines in the middle of the road. This is North America. Beyond that, I don't really know. Do I go with the US or do I go with Canada? I don't know. Looking at the flat landscape, not many trees around. I think we're somewhere like kind of along this like line in the middle of the Americas here. Like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, this line of states. Or like up into Saskatchewan or Alberta. Now, where do I go in this line? I think I'm going to go somewhere pretty central along these set of states. And go with Nebraska. Again, not sure. I could easily be beaten here. I could easily lose here. Well, you've got to laugh at that. I guess we didn't look at the sun there, huh? That was Argentina. Me and my opponent were both in Nebraska. At least we had the same thought, but that was a chance for me to come back into this game, and I did not take it, which is a shame. Now, the sun is slightly in the north here. This time is definitely South America, but it's all about figuring out where. Do I think this is more like to be somewhere like Peru or Bolivia, or further south down in Argentina or Chile? It's a tough one. These rocks are very rocky, very dry, very rocky. I'm trying to read this sign, but it wouldn't help anyway. It's just going to be Spanish. And I know this is a Spanish-speaking place just based on, the lines in the middle of the road and the sun. And just the general landscape. Do I think this is Peru? I don't. I think this might be Argentina. Somewhere up here in northern Argentina. With these mountains, how they are. Do I go somewhere around here? I think we do. I don't think this is Chile. I think it's possible, but I don't think it is. Bolivia, with the mountains like this, it's possible, but again, I wouldn't think so. Peru is a possibility, but yeah, I like northern Argentina here. This is a round I could very easily lose on. Let's go with it. Gonna follow my instinct here and hope for the best. At least if I lose here, I know my opponent hasn't flawless me, because they have lost 5 points of health. That is insane. I can't believe I've just done that. Wow. That is... I'm glad I got that on camera. My word, what a guess to pull that one out. The road is barely even visible, it's such a small one. But I was so close to it, I was literally just like, less than an hour's drive away, probably. Wow. Well, that's pretty incredible. Alright, let's keep going. For context right now, with my current rating, I think this is maybe the highest my rating has ever been. I might have been higher once, a month or so ago. I think I might have hit 1050, but then I think I went straight back down after that. So if I can finish off this video with one more win, then I'll be super happy and probably at my highest ever rating. Now, like I was saying before, I'll give the queue every time I talk about how the queue is taking a while, it immediately pops. So I just need to keep doing that. I'm playing against someone from Belarus who is rated a bit lower than me. Okay, this is a nice easy one. This is South Africa. Polokwane I've heard of. It's a decently big city, I think, Polokwane. But I don't know where it is. I'm going to make the map bigger here. I know I've heard of it. Oh, it's up here, that's why I'm looking in the wrong place. So Polokwane appears to be to the north on the R37. The R37 is here. We've got Mashishing the other way. Then I make the map bigger again. Mashishing is here. Steelport is to the west. I believe we're right here. Well, maybe not. But I'm close enough, I think. I don't think this is quite the right spot, but I'm going to be close. This makes a lot more sense, yeah. I probably should have noticed that. But that's fine. Still a good first round. Gonna make the map smaller to begin with. Now, this is an interesting one. The snorkel on the car here hints that we're in Kenya. Sun is to the south. I mean, it's somewhere quite dry, which is it's possible in Kenya, but it's not normal. Do I go up here? Or do I go somewhere down here? I think I go down here. In Savo. I've been in Savo before, so I know this area was mapped. It was really far north, fair enough. Right on the border with... Is this Ethiopia? It is, wow. I don't think I've ever been this far north before in Kenya. Bit of a tricky one there. Speaking of tricky one, well, it's European. We're driving on the right. The bollards I can't quite make out, which is a shame. Those bollards will probably help me like realize what it's not. Like it's not Poland. I know that from the bollard. But just looking around here, I'm struggling to pinpoint this at all. Could this be the Baltics? Or could it be somewhere further south? In something like Hungary or Slovakia or Romania? I'm really not sure here. Nowhere feels quite right to me. I'm going to go Czechia as a bit of a hedge. I'm really not sure here at all. That was Russia. That's why I didn't even consider Russia. That's why it didn't feel right to me. Fair enough. I always forget that Russia has those pretty generic bollards. So this is Philippines. I can tell just from the language, some of these words like Cebuana. It's pretty Spanish. Mix of Spanish, English, and Filipino. I'm not sure what the actual language is, but As for where in the Philippines, I don't really have any idea. Philippines is another country that I struggle with, similar to Indonesia. I don't really have anything to go off here. Do I go with Manila and hope for the best? Because we're seemingly in a pretty big city, that's what I'm gonna do. Gonna cross my fingers and say it's Manila. It was Manila, or close to Manila anyway. We weren't actually really in a big city, but hey, it's close enough. Okay, first 4 rounds are done. We go into the damage multiplier rounds. I'm a little bit behind, but I've been behind at this point in the first 2 games, I think, so I've shown that I can come back. Now, this is European. It feels pretty far south. It feels pretty warm. But how far south? Something like Italy or Romania or potentially Croatia. Somewhere in this area. I could go with Croatia as a bit of a hedge, if I'm not sure. Just Italy does feel like a possibility here. And so does Romania. I think Italy feels more likely. So I think I'm going to go with Croatia, somewhere around here. And if it is Italy, I won't be too far away. It was Romania. That's a shame. That was one of my first instincts, and I kind of pulled away from it a little bit. But still, hedging in Croatia meant that I didn't lose too much. Still going okay. Now this feels like Brazil. Yellow line in the middle. Just the general landscape, the plants. That's really all I've got to go off. Where in Brazil do I guess? Don't really have much to go off again. I think I go somewhere around here. South Central in Minas Gerais. Nice. It was indeed Minas Gerais. That's some good damage inflicted. I take a slight lead. Happy with that. On to round 7, 2.5 times damage. I'm leaning into my screen to try and read what this orange tank says. I believe it says Profil tank. Or something very similar. The second word appears to be tank. And the thing underneath is something liters. Now, I don't know where this is. I'll be straight up. Is this Philippines or is it Indonesia? I'm probably going to win or lose this game based on this guess. The concrete to me says Philippines, I'm going to know Central Philippines. I have chosen poorly, and I have lost the game. That's fine. I had a 50-50. I was considering Indonesia because I really should have gone with Indonesia based off this. If I load this one up again. So this woman here is clearly a Muslim, based on what she's wearing, and that's much more likely to be the case in Indonesia than in the Philippines. This did indeed say Profil tank, so at least I could read that by leaning in. So that's a shame that I couldn't make it 3 out of 3 there. But still, 2 wins and 1 loss in a format, in a discipline that I'm not particularly strong at. But I feel like I showed what I can do in that. If I would have won that game, I actually would have been in the promotion places. But there's still, today I'm recording this on Monday, which is when the week resets in Geoguessr. I've got 7 whole days to try and break into this top 3 and get promoted to Master 1. Hopefully this week I can manage that. That would be nice. What I'll probably do next time I record some of these is just, do all 3. I've now shown 1 video of moving, 1 of no move, 1 of NMPZ. So I'll just throw all 3 in next time and just go wild with it and see how well I can do and keep trying to improve my rating, improve my knowledge, and go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.